Is my live audience. All right. Is the camera all good?
It's very lopsided.
What about that? Can you see?
Yes.
That should be good.
Okay. All right. So, have you ever drawn a landscape and ended up with trees the size of mountains? Do you want to draw one-pagers in your class with more snazzier detail? Well, adding depth in your drawings will give your drawings more appeal to your viewers. I will be teaching you how to add this depth to your drawings. I've been drawing for most of my life. I've studied art appreciation in the past through a college class, and in my speech, I'll teach you how to add and use a horizon line, points of perspective, and shading. So first, we will draw a line of horizon, or a horizon line. It's just bam. So this is your viewer's eye focus. This is where all of your other drawing is going to be centered on. Now, you don't have to have your line of horizon showing in a drawing. It's kind of just a foundation for your drawing to be set up on. And this is what you want. You're telling your audience where to look without actually having to tell them. And so now that I've told you about the horizon line and how to add it, we will be moving on to points of perspective. And the first point of perspective is a one-point perspective. So with your points of perspective, you can add it anywhere on the line. For now, we'll be adding it in the center. And you want to draw lines out from the point. And the farther these lines go down, the more space you'll have. And so when you're drawing a building, you can add walls right here. And as you can see, as this gets closer to your viewer, it's bigger, and as it gets closer to the dot, it gets smaller. And these lines right here on the side that's facing the viewer are parallel to the line of horizon, and these are always vertical and perpendicular. And so, with one-point perspective, we're going to move on to something more complex with two-point perspective. And with two-point perspective, it will give your audience a more realistic point of view on how to look at buildings or whatever your object of the drawing may be. Sorry about my lines not being straight.
It's okay.
So it'll give your audience a more like bird eye view or a more realistic angle of the drawing. And you can continue that bird eye view with 3 points of perspective by adding your 2 points right here and adding another point down below. So now your audience or your objects aren't just going to be disappearing into the horizon, but also to the 3rd point. So you say you're looking at the top of a skyscraper, and now it disappears into the dot. And you can get even more complex with 4 dots of perspective. And as you can see, your line of horizon makes a circle, and your 4 dots are on the outside, and they kind of create this gorish kind of like these gores right here. And in each quadrant, your object will follow the rules of the lines to each point on the line of horizon. And so, with the points of perspective, another technique that you can use to add depth is shading. And with shading, it will help tell your viewer where the light source is coming from, and it will add a three-dimensional look to your drawing. And so, with the light source hitting it, it tells your viewer how much depth you have. And with shading, it really depends on how much pressure you put on the paper. So you have to, if you want a darker shade, you have to put more pressure on the paper, and as you want to add your light source, you kind of want to fade into a lighter shade. So kind of like this. And as you can see on the ball, on this object, or on this example, you can see how the shadow is the same color of the shade on the back side where the light isn't hitting it as much, and it'll show you, and it'll give that shadow. And so with shadow, you can really use it to tell a mood or like give your viewer what mood they want to feel. So if there's a lot more shadow, it'll give a darker mood. Or if there's a little shadow and a lot more light, it'll give a brighter mood. And to wrap things up, you now have the knowledge of how to add your horizon line, your points of perspective, and your shading techniques. Now let's say hypothetically, your teacher assigns you a project to draw a scene from the book you're reading in your English class, and now with these techniques you no longer have to worry about drawing a terrible picture or not being able to present your picture to have it tell what you want it to tell. And now you have the confidence to draw a good picture and to add depth into your drawing.